only you can change your own world. And now that you've discovered us at the Institute of Practical Learning, you too can watch and learn just how to do it.
The next happiness zone we're going to talk about is called family. So that's the third zone, and we're representing it with the yellow colour as we talk about the rainbow of happiness. Now, family has many meanings in many cultures, but in terms of truly understanding how you can be happy, it's all related to the forces that act on you as a person. You have biological forces as a result of your nature, and then you have social forces acting on you as a result of your nurture and the people around you and the culture around you. Now, the family zone is one where the biological dimension is most important, and it covers typically from 3 to 10 people. And those people are genetically related to you in one way or another. It can be your children, your parents, also the parents of the principal pair, which we covered earlier, which we covered in the orange area. So your children, or child, if you're lucky enough to have any, your partner, your parents, and your partner's parents. So that's the combination of people which we're calling your family. Now, it can also include up to one other person, and that's a person who's around at a significant moment in your lifetime. You may say, well, what's that all about? And the answer, which we'll come to very soon, is called imprinting. So we are herd animals. Like it or not, Homo sapiens is a herd animal, and over thousands, maybe even millions of generations, we've evolved to have certain neural networks inside our minds. And those networks are connected up to optimize your behavior for survival and success. And they achieve that by injecting into your bloodstream certain hormones. So as you adopt particular behaviors, this hormone system puts energy into your body and your behavior. The main ones people know about are what's called dopamine, which tends to give you the energy, serotonin, which gives you that kind of feel-good feeling. If you go out in the sunshine and stuff, if you're lucky enough to have access to sunshine. I live in the UK, so this time of year, February, it's not a good time for sunshine. And then if you're lucky enough to have people around you, family people especially, you get a hormone called oxytocin, which builds trust between the family. It's part of why people like to hug each other and so on. So there are lots of other hormones like melatonin and endorphins and, well, probably dozens of others. And as your brain forms, you develop what's called a limbic system. Now, this limbic system is fundamental to behavior and your motivation. Now, the limbic system is also influenced by a process called imprinting, which I mentioned earlier. You can see it much more in animals, especially geese are a well-known example, where the egg hatches, the little goose is born, and it imprints itself onto the first thing it sees. That doesn't even have to be a living thing. It can be a bucket or the boots of the person that's feeding them. It's all kinds of weird stuff, but it's an easy way to see what imprinting's all about. Now, in humans, there's a process called neural imprinting, and that is a factor in terms of your activities and how you grow up. So you can see that with children, a level of intimacy within the family group, and especially the baby and who they see first and their mother and so on, is important which is why in Western hospitals, the nurses, as soon as the baby's born, they dump it into the arms of the mother and let that process of imprinting really get going. So in this family zone or yellow zone, how are you going to achieve happiness points given that you share genes with your partner, your children, and your parents, and the other person's parents? And that can be true to some extent in this rather complicated world of adoption and same sex relationships and marriages and so on. But if we just stick to the main aspect of this, you're aspiring to collect happiness points. Now, you can get those points in three particular ways. The first off is, do you have a sense of belonging to that family group? That's your judgment. Do you feel you belong? And are you accepted by that group? So you can certainly collect a token there if you feel you belong and you are accepted. The second token area is to do with the sense to which you feel valued and appreciated by that group that you're involved in. It's lovely to be accepted, to be valid. It's called validation, where your presence and your participation in that family is generally appreciated by several members of that particular family. With your own children, that's very simple. Usually they just love you, and that's a benefit of having children, along with the 24/7 duties and responsibilities that come with having children, but that's another topic. Now, the third area is to do with your status within that family group and the role that you have within the family group. So if you are satisfied with and feel comfortable with what your role is within that family grouping, if you don't feel you're obliged to be controlling everything, or you don't feel dominated and so on, and you just feel comfortable with your part and your role within that family grouping, then you can collect another token. So you can see it's not too hard to collect 3 tokens within a family group, but sometimes it does require a bit of effort, and sometimes you can feel a little bit uncomfortable or a lot uncomfortable. Now, talking about family, you are inevitably going to be thinking, my family is much bigger than that. My partner's got cousins and uncles and so on and so on. A small group. Now, small groups aren't just that extended family. Small groups can be made up in other ways. And as opposed to the family grouping, which is 3 to 10 people, a small group can very easily be from 5 to 30 people. So let's come on to that next.